reports on ABC Amba TV. You're watching ABC Amba News. Prime reports on ABC Amba TV. You're watching ABC Amba News. Prime reports on ABC Amba TV.
Fellow Ambazonians, dear countrymen, despite the hike in targeted summary execution of our innocent people by Paul Biya's killer squads, I still believe we are now at the twilight of our political daybreak, emptying the combined worth and wealth of a lifetime fortune into the country of our collective dream.
A place we can surely call home.
At last, my people, the wind of total liberation is sweeping through Ambazonia, our priceless inheritance.
The land of our forebears.
A place we can surely call home.
A few years ago, a vicious dictator declared war on our sovereign nation of Ambazonia. It is a war we did not seek nor provoke, but are determined to muster every strength we can harness and continue sending the message to our enemy that we have risen to call home.
We have paid dues for everything. We pay tax for goods we buy. We pay fuel in our cars. We pay hospital bills and the dues for all other sacrifices.
I can give all I have for the one hope that I have.
Because I hate my CID. I'm actually proudly Amazonian.
Let's get it straight. The freedom of Ambazonia will not depend on the free will of her enemies.
Independence will be but days away if we get it right with our CID member.
My dear comrades, I am appealing to every Ambazonian to register with the CID program.
We have no control over our distorted history, but with our CID, we can set the pace and determine the future of Ambazonia.
Yes, the hope for the future is in our hands. As an Ambazonian, my identity is conclusive. My right is guaranteed. My vote will always count as I pay my CID.
As an Ambazonian, I will shape the future with my CID.
With your CID of just $10 per month, the interim government is contract to fulfill all that you wish to be done.
Let us build the freedom mansion from the little blocks, which is our CID levy.
There will be food for everyone, hope for every child, justice for every citizen when we pay our CID levy.
Yes, the dream we can realize. With my compulsory independence dues, CID, I have the opportunity to give to the next generation a greater nation, better than we inherited.
Yes, CID program is freedom made easy, freedom made cheap, freedom for Ambazonia now.
Cameroon caught red-handed in acts of brutality against Ambazonians. The 22nd of September marks the very onset of the genocidal onslaught in southern Cameroon. French Cameroon calls on Biya to stop the war. Chelsea meets Manchester City this weekend in the Premier League. These stories and more in this broadcast of ABC Amba News.
Don't you hate it when that happens to you? When it does, you need this and this and this. When it happens to me, I always know where to go. When you've got professionals on your side, your problems don't stand a chance. What are you waiting for? Contact them today and let them take care of your problems.
Hello and welcome to ABC Amba News. I'm Cynthia Williams. Caught red-handed, French military's brutality against southern Cameroon is on full display. In a video that has since gone viral, French Cameroon's police were seen torturing an Ambazonian civilian with a machete in the cruelest way. Here's the video. Viewer discretion is strongly advised.
Viens, tu m'as échappé. C'est-à-dire, quand je... Voilà. Est-ce qu'il y a qu'un grand comme ça, c'est l'instant? Ça veut dire que ce n'est pas le bon gars. Tu as le nom de l'histoire. Le chef. Hein? Hein? Tu sais comment les gorges les gens là-bas? Moi, les gorges, moi je suis passé à 5%. Les gorges. Je me mets là. Ah, c'est l'école, ma piquée de blé m'a vendu. Hein? Et toi, on a vu quelque chose? Non, pas avec ça même. C'est bien.
Police Chief Mbarga Ngwele has announced that police officers captured in the video beating the suspect in Yaoundé with a machete have been identified and will be disciplined. However, Ambazonians say this is propaganda to thwart public opinion and to deceive the ongoing United Nations General Assembly. The people of Benju Nkambe of Dongamantung County are on alert. It is purported that Pastor Valentine Bongbam is on a sponsored mission to capture and betray those who support Ambazonian liberation struggle. Comfort Confor reports.
An alarm has been raised of a certain Pastor Valentine Bombam of Binju Baptist Church in Cambeck Town, which is the headquarters of Donga Mountain County. It is alleged that the said pastor has been armed by the La République du Cameroon military, and he is going round with a group of Fulani men combing every household in their neighborhood in search of the supporters of the Ambazonia liberation struggle to hand them over to the French Cameroon marauders for murder. As much as ABC Amba News would like to say that this allegation is tenable, natives of Binju and Kambe who know Pastor Bombam very well have said that it could be highly likely that he is guilty, because people have been seeing him during the past few years having serious mouth-to-ear discussions with the colonial stooges, including the mayor of Kambe, Musa. Other sources, including Christians of Pastor Bombam's church, said that, just like any normal Baptist pastor in that country, Pastor Bombam is very rich in spirit, but financially handicapped. However, he suddenly got rich overnight, to the extent that people were wondering if the money he has been flaunting recently is only coming from the same church where everybody knows that they don't have even a single Christian who gives offering of up to 1,000 colonial franc CFA. Many of the assertions levied against Pastor Bombam seem to be adding up, because ABC Amba News found on a post on his Facebook wall as of August 22nd, 2021, which read as follows: "To God be the glory. We are now in our family residence. My wife, children, and I are saying thanks to all your prayers from day one of the foundation to present. It is the Lord's doing." This post was accompanied with a newly constructed mansion equipped with massive burgundy leather set of chairs. If truly it is the Lord's doing, then his faith would be bigger than that of Abraham, father of faith in the Old Testament. Interestingly, the hand behind the terrorizing of innocent citizens and the overnight riches of a humble Baptist pastor is Musa. He has a history of manipulations, as we learned from his acquaintances. A former government secondary school teacher, ABC Amba News has learned that he also taught part-time at a faith-based high school in the city of Bamenda. That was a laudable act of diligence and service to the nation. However, when he climbed the ladder of career progression to the position of the Bamenda Police Credit Union president, he changed from a hard-working citizen and a nation builder to a typical Cameroonese. Sources say he would be bribed by the members of the credit union to endorse their loans. During the next elections, he would make a tour of all the cultural groups in the northern zone, using his ill-gotten money to collude with people to vote him back into power. After being selected into the position of mayor, instead of being elected by the people, his real colors continued to define themselves more clearly. People who know him are now asking what happened to the humble teacher they knew, because what they see now is, in quote, a wise serpent who uses vulnerable people to drive through his agenda of hogging the baton of leadership forever. For Musa was the one who misled the vulnerable elderly, uneducated and feeble-minded fans of Mbuwat, where he hails from, to go in public and wrongfully perform traditional rites, which ended up sending one of the funds to meet his ancestors. He is the same person funding a man of God to forcefully send the populations he has been shepherding for years to the slaughter. Many political critics are wondering aloud what part of a statement the likes of Mfo Musa do not understand when people say that the French-Cameroon Ambazonia conflict is not politics but a full-blown war. ABC Amba TV's observation on this issue is that Antonio Guterres, freedom-loving countries and respecters of democracy and human rights like the United Nations, the United States of America, Germany, Italy, Belgium, the rest of the world need to act now. Do what is supposed to be done to accelerate the long-begun Swiss-led negotiation. Ambazonia is in excruciating pain, and they say enough is enough. Comfort Confo on Prime Reports with ABC Amba News.
Is it controversy, conspiracy, or history? The 22nd of September reminds Ambazonians of a day when hundreds of unarmed, peaceful civilians were slaughtered. This day is a sad reminder of the origin of the genocidal onslaught in Ambazonia. We are now joined online with Ambazonian-born university lecturer Dr. Bridget A. Thibault, professor of history at the University of Massachusetts, Dartmouth, who will take some questions in this regard. Thank you for being with us today, Dr. Thibault. There are several schools of thought in the Ambazonian liberation movement with regard to September 22nd, also known as Sisiku Ayuk Tabi Day. Others are protesting the interim government's declared lockdown from September 15th to October 2nd, 2021, asking why this painful lockdown, questioning Dr. Sako's reasoning. Professor, what is your take on this?
All right. Thank you, Cynthia, for having me on the ABC News today. These are really very interesting questions regarding the Ambazonian liberation movement. And I think it's appropriate that we tackle some of these issues. Regarding the schools of thought linked to September 22nd, either as the Sisiku Ayuk Tabi Day or the commemoration of our struggle, I think it is not about polemics. It's not about honoring or despising a person. The crucial element here is taking the Ambazonian liberation movement forward. And so, to that extent, we want to make sure that people understand that while September 22nd was a very important and interesting day, I don't think the IG or the interim government of Dr. Sako is trying to despise Sisiku Ayuk Tabi. It is a historical fact that he plays a very important role in the restoration or the declaration of the restoration of the Ambazonian independence. It is also a known fact that while that happened, he was amongst the Naira 10 that were abducted from Abuja in Nigeria. When that happened, Ambazonians rallied behind Sisiku Ayuk Tabi, supported him, and continued to protest and plead for his release and his entire cabinet. That is still an ongoing project. And so to be commemorating a Sisiku Ayuk Tabi Day is by implication saying that we are done or that the struggle has achieved its greatest goal, that of independence, which has not happened. The other thing that we want to say also is that instead of looking at what Dr. Sako has done in terms of the lockdown and saying that it is a way of minimizing or despising Sisiko Ayok Tabe, we should think about the future of our struggle. We should think in terms of where that struggle is headed. And so we remember September 22nd, a day that people went out peacefully to march, to protest, to ask for basic rights, and were crushed, hundreds killed. We take that day as a day of mourning, as a day of remembrance for our fallen heroes and heroines. And we want to make sure that that day is remembered in those terms. Now, in terms of moving forward, I think it makes sense to not look at that lockdown as a way of punishing people who are already suffering. Yes, lockdowns are difficult. Lockdowns are very challenging, and we know that our brothers and sisters and our parents on ground zero are suffering enormously, and we can only contribute from a distance. But the lockdowns are necessary. The lockdowns are the constant in sending a message to La République du Cameroon that we are determined as a people, that Southern Cameroonians or Ambazonians are very determined to take the struggle to the end. It is also important to note that this particular lockdown came at an appropriate time, knowing the psyche of La République du Cameroon, knowing their MO and their past behavior, in trying to deceive and fool the international community. It was necessary for this lockdown to take place at this time.
Looking at the polarized voices within the movement and knowing that La République du Cameroon's agenda at the ongoing United Nations General Assembly, how would you advise the interim government of Ambazonia?
Another loaded question. Again, any struggle historically has its ups and downs. Every struggle historically has people who are for and those who are against. Every struggle also has those who are just out to destabilize and make sure that they gain financially because of the chaos. Now, in the case of the Ambazonian Liberation Movement, we have those different voices. We have polarized ideas. We have those who say we cannot continue fighting a war that is killing so many people. We have others who say, no, we can continue to lobby diplomatically to gain attention. Now, we have done everything as a people to create awareness. We have protested from continent to continent, from every major city in the world. We have created that awareness. And so the key is to continue to use other avenues, to use diplomatic strategies, to use the internet to create more awareness. Today, the UN General Assembly is ongoing. We heard Guterres, the Secretary General, talk about support to developing nations, support to countries that are in conflict, calling the ceasefire and all of that. Now, talk is cheap. Talk that doesn't follow with implementation of ideas is unacceptable at this stage. Our revolution, our struggle for independence and freedom is ripe for a negotiated settlement between the two states, Southern Cameroons, aka Ambazonia, and La République du Cameroon. Yes, people are dying unnecessarily, and so it is time to stop the fighting and get to the negotiation table. So my advice, therefore, to the IG is to stay the course, to make sure that our plans to get our freedom and independence continue to be put in place, that all support for our local governments and our counties through drafting are implemented and encouraged, and that everybody who feels the pain of the killings in Southern Cameroon should wake up, because sitting quietly and hoping for a miracle won't do the trick. Thank you.
Dr. Thibault, thank you for accepting our invitation. We look forward to having you again. 1st October is fast approaching, and while Ambazonians across the national territory are committed to the ongoing national sacrifice, Dr. Patience Abiadu, Secretary of State for Women's Service of the Interim Government of Ambazonia, sends out a special word of encouragement and shares her projections. Let's listen.
My brothers and sisters, mothers and fathers, sons and daughters, fellow Ambazonians, I salute you all today. I come to you this particular time of the year, this particular season, this particular moment of lockdown, with greetings from the Women's Department of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. All your sisters, your daughters, your loved ones that are women working to help us go to Boya, they all send greetings. Especially all of us that are in the diaspora, because we understand the pain you're all going through. We've come a long way, a very, very long way. Who would have thought that since 4 years ago, we would have gone this far? Let's just remember how we got to where we are today. Let's just remember that in 2016, after the teachers and lawyers went on a strike, demanding just basic necessities, Paul Biya decided to wage a war on our people who have always known peace for as long as we existed. And what has happened since then? We have the most neglected humanitarian crisis in our land. But we've had some victory along the way. We've had October 1st, 2017. Before that October 1st, 2017 came, we knew that our young struggle for independence had morphed through different names. We had the Consortium, where Pata Sang was one of the leaders. We had Skakuf. We had the Governing Council. And finally, the interim government of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. The reason I bring this very, very short history is so that we remember where we've come from and why we're here today now, and what the beauty about this interim government is. The setup of the interim government is so that we can fight this war together quickly, so that all the pain that our mothers, our daughters, our fathers, our husbands are going through will come to an end. This interim government has local government areas. It has counties. And those are the basic units that we have to come together and be united so that all the pain that our mothers are going through, all the pain that our daughters are experiencing will be short-lived. I am really appealing to everyone listening to me today to respect the institutions that are in place. We want to build powerful institutions so that no matter who is leading that institution, everything will work well. But all this talking may not mean anything to you who is suffering. All the mothers that have gone through pain, having lost your sons, your daughters, your husbands, your loved ones because of a senseless war. For that, I can only say, I share that we are really, really sorry that we are all going through this pain. But there's a light at the end of that dark tunnel. There's a bright light waiting for us in Buea. Our government has told us to have lockdown for a period of time. Our president informed us why it was important to have this lockdown, because I know that deep down inside you realize that it's important. You realize that that's one statement you can make to tell the international community that you own the land. So I'm just begging you that despite all the pain, despite all the suffering that you're experiencing during this time, you will continue to listen to the leaders that you have steering this ship to Buea. So I thank you all for listening to me today, and God bless you all.
As French Cameroon buries soldiers and their families mourn, some are advising Paul Biya to end this senseless war, leaving many to wonder if he will listen. Mike Fusey reports.
Since the attack on two armored vehicles carrying soldiers of La République du Cameroun and the subsequent display of their dead bodies and the weapons seized from them, there has been a sudden change in the discourse about the war between AMBAZONIA and French Cameroon, both in French Cameroon and even the world at large. It gives one the false impression that the war just started a few days ago, but no, this war has been going on for close to 5 years now, and it has already claimed the lives of more than 30,000 Ambazonians. One of the most noticeable reactions to the deaths of 15 La République du Cameroun soldiers at Sabga in Ngo-Ketunjia has been that of this La République du Cameroun priest who spoke during the funeral of one of the fallen soldiers killed in Ngo-Ketunjia. The priest was almost in tears as he begged those in authority in French Cameroon to end this senseless war. After listening and watching the video of the priest and many other citizens of La République du Cameroun calling for an end to the war, Ambazonians find themselves asking these questions. Are those in authority in La République du Cameroun listening? Does Paul Biya really care even for the lives of his own soldiers who are being slaughtered every day? Is he even awake or conscious? Why is it that this priest is all of a sudden so concerned about the loss of life only when the death toll on La République du Cameroun soldiers has increased? Is he saying that the lives of more than 30,000 Ambazonians who've been killed already, the tens of thousands in refugee camps, the internally displaced, and those locked up in the dungeons of La République du Cameroun do not matter? What are the citizens of La République du Cameroon prepared or willing to do if their politicians should fail to heed to their advice? There is now an echo of voices coming from La République du Cameroon and calling for an end to the war. Honorable Joseph Weber and even Agbabala had warned before the start of this war that La République du Cameroon was playing with fire because when Ambazonians will rise up, not even the combined military of La République du Cameroon and France will be enough to contain the wrath of Ambazonians. This wrath, as explained by some Ambazonians interviewed by ABC Amba TV, comes from pent-up frustrations, pains, humiliations, torments, abuse, exploitation, broken promises, deceit, arrogance, and slavery of Ambazonians, to name but these. Ambazonians now feel that their backs are against the wall, and the only option they have now is to fight to get forward. That is why the Ambazonian restoration fighters are more dangerous, because they are fighting for survival as compared to the soldiers of La République du Cameroon, who don't even know what they are fighting for, and they know they're fighting, most of them know they're fighting an unjust war. Even as some citizens of La République du Cameroon are beginning to call for an end to the war, those expressions will not be enough to move a cold-hearted dictator like Paul Biya. If the citizens of La République du Cameroon are truly serious about ending the war, they'll have to do more than just talk. Will they listen to this advice? Your guess is as good as mine. While they do that, Ambazonians are forging ahead with the restoration of their independence. My Fuzi on Prime Reports with ABC Amba News.
We are now joined by political correspondent for ABC Amba TV News, Tar PK. Tar, welcome. There's a caption by the Guardian Post newspaper that seems somewhat troubling. It reads, Southwest defies lockdown, gives Prime Minister Dion Ngute a hero's welcome. Is that concerning?
Cynthia, thank you once more for having me. I will say this. It is concerning, quite concerning, but not surprising. We've received reports a couple of times that there are some resistance in certain areas of the southern zone, particularly Victoria, and part of Boya. And the reason is very evident. Not because these individuals or the Ambazonians or Southern Cameroonians that are there are not listening to the interim government. I want you to understand that in Victoria, what is now called Limbe, there is a high concentration of Cameroon military. There's a high interest. I explained one of the reasons why this is happening. History shows that the actual boundary between the former British Southern Cameroons and French Cameroon is not where they purport it now to be. It is at the Wuri River, what is currently called Bonaberry Bridge. And they are aware of this. It is not in my position to start making that determination, but when the right moment will come, I'm sure experts will have to get that handled. So it is all about our fear tactics, and they want to force a lot of military influence into the southern zone, the Victoria and part of Boya. We know that Kumba is conforming. Kumba is. So I feel that caption is kind of exaggerating. And there is an interest. That's not even the interest point. The interest point is, why did the PM go to Boya? The reasons are not very clear. But we have reports that he went there and was trying to manipulate one of the tools of French Cameroon, or to intimidate journalists, and with the idea that they have to change the narrative of the Amba restoration movement. So he wants journalists to change it. I hope those who are trying to counter every move of the interim government should have this as a lesson, that there was foresight. It was based on visionary leadership and a proper calculation, because it's all about a narrative. At a time, listen, the UN General Assembly is ongoing. Soldiers of French Cameroon are dying. The heat is on. And head boy, Tobias Tunch, Dr. John Gute, it's unfortunate. I don't know how he's called a doctor, has been sent to play the normal card that we all know. So it's nothing to worry about, because the interim government, I believe, and I'm confident, has a strategy to counter that.
Thank you for that. Also, there are mixed feelings and expressions in French Cameroon that certain individuals feel that the Bia's government hasn't done enough to crush Ambazonians, whom they call terrorists. What is your take on this?
Yeah, it is quite unfortunate. But you know, this is not the first time that we're having French Cameroonians expressing such concerns. I don't know, to them, Ambazonia and Ambazonians are some priceless possession. You know, there are some slaves that they will have to beat, they will have to do everything. Some have even told President Biya that he is too kind. Le Président Biya même est trop gentil. You know, after killing close to 30,000 people, they have made statements that could provoke xenophobic tendency. I just want to read something to you. I found out a couple of moments ago from Honorable Justice Ayas War, and this is a man of high integrity. I'm not sure he's just trying to do some propaganda. I read just a few aspects of it for you. He says, "For more massacres, I shuddered today at what a CPDM woman, in bracket, name withheld, said on Radio Equinox, Douala, this morning, September 21st, 2021, that was yesterday. She opined that a buffer zone could be created around Mbanga. All pro-Cameroon persons in Ambazonia would be summoned to get into the buffer zone. Once that has been done, the efficient Cameroonese army would wipe out, within a week, Ambazonians on the territory." How unfortunate. A woman would have to say this. And this is not the first time. So it's important. And as I was going through the comments, you had one of the attorneys or barristers that are in support of the struggle made a comment. Barrister Tumasan, I want us to see what he said. And I think that leaders should take note of this. Barrister Tumasan said something very important. He says, now, Barrister Tumasan said something very remarkable, which I would like us to take note. Now, he repeated what the first line of what Aya said, and then said, please, I need the name of the person involved so that I can include in our case in the Ambazonian mediation statement. I can include in the Ambazonian mediation statement that what went on or is going on is a genocide. And citizens of La République du Cameroun, such as the woman, were even asking for the extermination to be faster. Yeah. You have French Cameroonians, a majority of them, do not even have respect for the life of Ambazonians. They've done that a couple of times. So this is evidence to what we have been saying, or what Ambazonia is saying to the world. And thank God it is happening for all to see. But it also comes to show the civility of the Ambazonian or the Southern Cameroonian. Why they have been killing our people, torturing them even in Yaoundé, and in the Wala. Even the Amba boys do not touch Francophones in Ambazonia. And they are the ones that are snitching our people. They do not. It tells you about the civility. It tells you about a people that are peace-loving. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Tar, for joining us. We look forward to having you again in future broadcasts. And now for international news. The Ghanaian junta brushes off the impact of ECOWAS sanctions since their coup. Dr. Ngwambe has the report.
Guinea's military junta said on Friday it would not bow to regional pressure and allow octogenarian deposed President Alpha Condé, detained since his removal on September 5th, to leave the country. On Friday, Ivory Coast President Alassane Ouattara and Ghana's President Nana Akufo-Addo paid a one-day visit to Conakry to ask Guinea's interim leader, Colonel Mamadi Doumbouya, a Special Forces commander and former French legionnaire, for Mr. Condé's release. President Ouattara had been hoping to leave Guinea with Mr. Condé, a senior regional government official told Reuters. The former deposed president is and remains in Guinea. We will not yield to any pressure, the junta said in a statement read on state TV. Ivorian President Ouattara and Ghanaian President Akufo-Addo, representing the 15-member Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, held a separate meeting with Mr. Condé at the Mohammed VI Palace in Conakry, but flew out the country on Friday evening empty-handed. President Ouattara of Ivory Coast told Radio Television Guinean, RTG, at Conakry Airport before leaving, "I met my brother Alpha Condé, who is doing well. We will remain in contact." President Akufo-Addo of Ghana told RTG, "We've had a very frank and fraternal meeting with Colonel Doumbouya and his collaborators. I think that ECOWAS and Guinea are going to find the best way to move forward together." ECOWAS has demanded a return to constitutional rule since the Special Forces Unit seized control of the presidential palace, detained Mr. Condé, and declared itself in charge. The bloc agreed on Thursday to freeze financial assets of the junta and their relatives and bar them from traveling. The junta has not responded. Coup belt. Events in Guinea followed coups in Mali and Chad earlier this year that have raised fears of a democratic backslide in a region only just shedding its coup belt reputation. Guinea's coup leaders have held a week of consultations with public figures and business leaders to map out a framework for a transitional government. ECOWAS' credibility in Guinea has been strained since 2018, when the bloc failed to condemn Mr. Condé for running for a third term in office last year, despite a law declaring that presidents like Mr. Condé must step down after 2 terms and widespread protests. President Ouattara himself used the constitutional change as an excuse to run for a third term last year, a move critics decried as illegal. Following Thursday's summit, during which ECOWAS also pressured Mali's transitional government to hold elections by February 2022, the regional body said it would be reviewing protocols on democracy and good governance. On departing the airport in Conakry, the ECOWAS motorcade passed dozens of pro-junta demonstrators brandishing signs. One read, "ECOWAS does not reside for us." The stakes are indeed high, and ABC Amba Newsroom is following up very closely. Dr. Ngwambe on Prime Reports with ABC Amba News.
It could have been another military takeover in Africa within a month. The attempted coup in the Sudan has failed. Our correspondent from Lagos, Nigeria, Eunice Momo, reports.
Sudan's fragile transitional government said it foiled an attempted coup Tuesday involving military officers and civilians linked to the ousted regime of longtime autocrat Omar al-Bashir. Prime Minister Abdullah Ardok said the coup attempt was the latest manifestation of the national crisis, referring to deep divisions during Sudan's move to democracy. In a televised speech, it said the plotters had made extensive preparations which were showcased in the security breakdown in cities, blocking of national roads, closure of ports, and persistent instigation against the civilian government. Information Minister Hamza Balu later announced the coup attempt had been thwarted. The leaders of the coup attempt have been arrested, a government spokesman said on State TV, adding that remnants of the regime of the ousted Bashir participated in the attempt. The ruling body, known as the Sovereign Council, has run Sudan under a fragile power-sharing deal between the military and the civilians following Bashir's overthrow. It plans to hold free elections in 2024. Sudan's army commander and head of the Sovereign Council, Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, visited the military camp in South Khartoum, where the coup attempt reportedly began. Had it succeeded, the attempt could have had devastating consequences on the unity of the army, security forces, and the country, he said. State television had aired patriotic songs and urged people to confront the coup attempt. In Khartoum, traffic flowed smoothly, including around the army headquarters, where protesters staged a month-long sit-in that eventually led to Bashir's overthrow in the palace coup by the army in 2019. Anti-coup demonstrations broke out in several cities. At Port Sudan in the east, protesters raised Sudanese flags and chanted, "No to military rule, no to coup." Eyewitness Mohammed Hassan said, United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres on Tuesday condemned the coup attempt, calling on the African nation to preserve the gains of its democratic transition. Guterres condemns the attempted coup d'etat in Khartoum, said United Nations spokesman Stephen Dujarric. The Secretary General calls on all parties to remain committed to the transition and the realization of the aspirations of the Sudanese people for an inclusive, peaceful, stable, and democratic future. Britain, Norway, and the US also voiced strong support for Sudan's government. Eunice Momo on Prime Report with ABC Amba News.
And now for business news. Our economic analyst, Dr. Ngwambe, introduces a rising coin, Solana, to us. Prospect of its market value and the need to invest in SOL now. Let's watch.
Solana price predictions. 2021 transformed the cryptocurrency market. The bull run at the beginning of the year sent some big names packing and brought previously obscure cryptos into the spotlight. One of these is Solana, symbol SOL, a proof of history blockchain that is currently the world's 7th largest cryptocurrency by market cap. It was the 42nd largest back in February 2021. Solana price prediction 2021. The chart below shows that Solana has performed great over the past few days. However, the Solana price shows a bullish signal. If this trend continues, Solana might run along with the bulls, breaking its $379 resistance level and go higher. Conversely, if the investors do not favor crypto, the bears might take over and pull Solana from its uptrend position. In simpler terms, the price of Solana might decrease to almost $67.89, a bearish signal. Meanwhile, our long-term Solana price prediction for 2021 is bullish. It has a high possibility of surpassing its current all-time high at about $194.82 this year. Moreover, Solana can hit an all-time high only if it breaks many previous psychological resistances. Solana price prediction for 2022. If this bullish trend continues, Solana will reach $500 by the end of 2022. Moreover, the first half of 2022 is going to show rapid growth up to $550. Then the rise will slow down, but no major falls are expected. With upcoming partnerships and developments, reaching $500 is quite optimistic in the price point of view, but undoubtedly feasible for the near future. Solana predictions for 2023. If Solana holds the support level around 200 MA, which is long-term moving average, buyers will then have ample time and stability to forge the next attack mission on the vital level at $750, making it not plummet but play consistently. Solana price predictions for 2024. As per the latest upgrades, developments, Solana price prediction, and new project forecasts of the platform, Solana investors could expect many partnerships and integrations around 2024. Moreover, this might boost the price of Solana in the crypto market, and it will be the best investment as the price can spike and reach around $900. Solana price predictions for 2025. In the next 4 years, Solana prices could race up to $1,200. However, reaching this level could not be so difficult for Solana, as additional medium, short-term, and long-term price targets could be found to purchase or sell orders. This indicates that Solana has a high possibility for reaching a new all-time high soon in the next 5 years, as per the prediction. In conclusion, Solana has a bright future ahead of it in 2021. The ongoing developments happening within the Solana ecosystem, as well as the overall crypto market, we may see Solana reach new heights. Bullish Solana price prediction 2021 is $379. As said above, it may even reach $400 if investors have decided that Solana is a good investment in 2021, along with mainstream cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum. We at ABC Amba News will continue to watch the cryptocurrency markets with you. Dr. Gwambe on Prime Reports with ABC Amba News.
And now for sports news. Fans are animated as Chelsea meets Manchester City this weekend. South Africa's Banyana beat the Super Falcons of Nigeria 4-2 to win the Aisha Buhari Invitational Women's Tournament at Mobolaji Johnson Arena in Lagos State on Tuesday. Vivian Ikechekwu gave the Super Falcons a lifeline after pulling a goal back shortly after the break in the 47th minute, then further reduced the deficit to 1 goal, bagging her second goal in the 53rd minute. While the Super Falcons were unable to add to their tally till the end of the second half, Banyana was awarded a second penalty. Meanwhile, at the Premier League this Saturday, while Chelsea fans are hoping that Manchester City will be slashed by the ruthlessly efficient team, Thomas Tuchel has explained why he is not surprised to see Thiago Silva performing so well. Tuchel hinted at one player who could come into the team to face Aston Villa. After a late start, missing early preseason to compete in Copa America with Brazil, the defender came into the starting lineup for our last 2 Premier League fixtures. On Friday, we will bring you details on the preparedness of both Chelsea and Manchester City.
Don't you hate it when that happens to you? When it does, you need this and this and this. When it happens to me, I always know where to go. When you've got professionals on your side, your problems don't stand a chance. What are you waiting for? Contact them today and let them take care of your problems.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's all the news we have for you in this broadcast. On behalf of everyone here at ABC Amba TV News, thank you for watching. I'm Cynthia Williams.